Morning, my name is Steve. Today I'm gonna show you this ATM system which I developed using C Sharp um, in Visual Studio Community 2019. Over here you can see that this system will have a few features. The basic one like check account balance, place deposit, make withdrawal, login, third-party transfer, and bill bank transaction. This is the basic activity diagram. Alright, let's go to it. Okay, first I'm gonna run the program, and after that I'm gonna show my solution with all the project. Okay, after we run the program, you'll be getting a welcome screen. Welcome to Maybank ATM. Okay, we're gonna key in the card number. For example, you can key in, let's say I try to key in the wrong card number first, and the PIN. Here I don't want to show the PIN for security purpose. Okay, if the card number or the PIN is invalid, you'll get an error. Press enter, you're allowed to key in again. Now I key in with the correct card number and the correct PIN number as well. If the card number and the PIN number is correct, you'll be getting a welcome message. Peter Parker is the account name. So here you will be seeing the secure menu. There are 6 options: balance inquiry, cash deposit, withdrawal, third-party transfer, transaction, and lockout. Option number 1, you'll be able to see the account balance and cash deposit. Of course, in the real system, we're gonna place the physical notes into the physical ATM machine, but in this program, we're going to enter the amount. Okay, if the amount that you enter is a valid input, it will give you a preview. Let's say 100 ringgit, you have how many quantity, and so on. You give you a breakdown of the notes. So, okay, enter 1 to confirm. You have successfully deposit 100 ringgit. So now we have 2,000 in our account, and if we click balance inquiry, balance amount is updated. Now let's do a withdrawal, and we want to take out 50 ringgit. Minus 50 ringgit. Let's try the 4th option. For third-party transfer, we are allowed to send, let's say for example, 100 ringgit 50.50 cent. Cash deposit and withdrawal, we are not allowed to enter any decimal amount, but third-party transfer we can. So we enter the account name. For third-party transfer, we need to key in the account name so that the system will be able to check the account number and the account name. Because sometimes if we don't have the account name, we can key in the wrong account number and we send to the wrong person. So having account name will be the double check to the correct person that you want to send to. So if the account name and account number is correct, you will successfully transfer the money to the recipient. Account balance updated, and if you take a look of the transaction, we have in total 3 transactions. Scroll a bit to the right. Okay, you can see just now we deposit 100 ringgit. After that, we have withdraw 50 ringgit minus 50, and we transfer money to Clark Kent. We minus 100 ringgit and 50 cent. Okay, we'll show you also. In total, you have 3 transactions. Let's log out. Now I'm gonna try to log in as Clark Kent. And if I view the transaction, I'll be getting 1 transaction. So from who? From Peter Parker. This is a Peter Parker account number. Amount Peter Parker sent to Clark Kent is 1 ringgit and 50 cent. Okay, so basically this is the program, ATM program. Right, next I'm gonna show you the solution. My solution will have 3 different projects: ATM domain, ATM.console application library, and ATM console application. ATM.domain will be the core C# classes. Okay, I have 2 entities, transaction and user bank account. For this user bank account, as you can see, the card number and the card PIN together with the account number is all in the same class. If you wish to have let's say for example 1 user multiple bank account, we have to split this class into 2 classes, the user class and the bank account class. But in this version, I have 1 user for 1 bank account, so I combine them in 1 class. Next, we'll have the transaction class. In this transaction class, we are going to install the transaction detail. For example, what is the transaction date, what is the transaction amount, and what is the transaction type. So transaction type, there are fields defined in the enum. Over here, we have the withdrawal, deposit, and third-party transfer. I also have another enum for the menu. We have the check balance, place deposit, make withdrawal, and third-party transfer, transaction logged out. Here I also put the interface. I have 3 interfaces. ATM app, basically just login. Transaction, I have 2. Method, insert transaction and view transaction. User bank account, we have 3 methods defined here: check balance, place deposit, and make withdrawal. Because this class enum and interface consider independent, I create this project under .NET Standard. Next, we have the ATM.console application library. Here I have 2 classes, the utility class and validator class. This utility class will be in charge of whatever things that we need to format, like for example text formatting, the you want to change the color of the text, you want to show some animation of the program. Let's say for example just now when we log in, you'll see the dot 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 dot. So all this animation is in this class. Format a currency. Just now you can see that the currency RM. So here we do the formatting. Validated class will be in charge of the generic validation. Let's say I want user to key in only integer, and if the user does not enter integer, you will get an error message. So this method will be in charge of all this input validation. This is a generic method. You can pass in any data type. Let's say you want to validate decimal, we will define decimal. Validate integer, we're going to define it as integer. Next will be the ATM.console application. Here I have the main program. We're going to start the program in this entry class. Okay, so this ATM app will be our main application class. This ATM screen is in charge of printing out text in user interface. So whatever the user see in the user interface, for example just now the Maybank ATM system text or the welcome screen, or this text welcome back. Just now you can see Peter Parker, welcome back Peter Parker. So whatever users see in the interface, I'll put it here, all the text. ATM app will implement 3 interfaces as defined in the ATM.domain, which I have shown just now. This 3 interface. So as the program start, it will first initialize, do the initialization. So this initialization will create a list object, and because I don't use database to store the data in this version, I'll be using a list object to store it. So we have 3 user bank account here: Peter Parker, Bruce Wayne, and Clark Kent. Just now I log in using Peter Parker. The card number, if you still remember, 123 123, and I also log in using Clark Kent 789789 card number. If you still remember correctly, just now when I log in, the account balance is 2000 for Peter Parker. So after you have completed initialization, the program will run the execute method. The execute method will call the welcome screen and ask user to key in the card number and the card pin in this method. If the card number and the card pin is correct, it will welcome the customer. As you can see just now, welcome Peter Parker. This is the welcome screen, and then it will display the menu. The menu will allow user to key in option. Let's go to take a look at this. Okay, it will ask you to key in your option over here. Press processor menu option. Okay, let's say for example you want to check balance. Okay, you want to check balance, you will come to check balance. If you want to place deposit, let's take a look of one of the method. Bigger screen. Okay, here user gonna key in the amount. After the user key in the amount, it's going to do some validation to make sure that the amount that you key in is correct. If it's not correct, let's say it's less than 0 or 0, not in a multiple of 10, it will give you this error message. If you remember correctly, just now when we make a deposit, it will also give you a preview of all the banknotes. This method is in charge of that, let you know how many notes that you have, break down automatically for you in this method. Okay, and then if everything correct, it will create a transaction in the transaction table, add the amount to your balance and show a successful message. Withdrawal is the same, do some validation, do some extra checking because withdrawal need to check against the account balance. If you do not have enough money to make a withdrawal, you will get an error message. And if everything's successful, you will insert a record into the transaction list as well. Third party transfer, do a little more things. Besides all the normal validation, it needs to check against the person who received the money that you want to transfer to. So what I did is I use link query. Okay, using link query to do a check against the account list object, just to make sure that the receiver is the valid receiver. If it's not the valid receiver, it will throw you some error message. And if the receiver account number and the receiver account name match, pass through all the validation, again you insert the transaction into the transaction list object. Let's jump into this method. Okay, this method will be shared by the three methods: check balance, withdrawal, and two-party transfer. Depends on what type of transaction. You will pass in the parameter, the argument into this method accordingly. Okay, transaction date, you'll be using the system date time. This get transaction ID will be generated automatically. So it's auto increment. Each time you create a new transaction, it will be the transaction ID will be automatically generated. Okay, lastly we have this view transaction. You will list all the transaction as since we already have this list of transaction object where we store the transaction, it will list out everything, but of course we will do some filtering first just to make sure that you will see the correct data, because the person who received it and the person who gave it will have a different list of transactions. If you don't filter it, we're going to see everything, and that is not correct. Okay, here is the follow-up to show all the record in this list object, transaction list object. Here basically I use this third-party library console table to show the table in a tabular form formats, which is neat. Right, that's all. Thank you for listening.